Hold on just a minute. There we go. Always a contest.
All right, we all set now?
We are.
All set.
Lady always stops me anyway. I welcome any and all visitors here to the meeting hall this evening, and welcome any and all public comments by any member here, as long as it's unrelated to any of our agenda items for the evening. None being seen, I'll look at you, Scott. Possible changes to the agenda.
I have no changes to the agenda.
All right, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of April 7th, please?
Motion to approve the minutes of April 7th.
All right, we have a second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, a second, to approve the minutes of April 7th. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Scott?
Under action items, the select board to possibly accept the Step Into Swim grant in the amount of $5,000. Sarah Molina wrote the grant. The grant comes from the Pool and Hot Tub Alliance, and they were pleased to inform her that the 2026 Step Into Swim grant application has been approved by the review committee. Congratulations, you're being awarded $5,000. The idea is to reduce the risk of drowning. They believe that learning to swim can reduce the risk of drowning by 88% for 1 to 4 year olds. At any rate, they had a fabulous season last year, and now this money could be used for low income or free, so everyone is, so nobody's disadvantaged.
But it's a grant money. That's
Grant $5,000.
That's music to all of our ears.
And they can continue their swim lessons this next year.
All right. All right. Anyone have any questions on this? If none, being seen or heard, I'll accept the motion to accept this. Grant.
I move to accept the Step Into Swim grant in the amount of $5,000.
We have a second. Motion is second to accept the Step Into Swim grant in the amount of $5,000. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Scott?
Under the 1% local option tax, Gary Carver is here.
Gary, would you come up, please?
The select board to possibly approve the Energy Committee's 1% request for the window dresser program in the amount of $1,700.
Yes. We want to continue the program that you helped us fund to get started last year.
Mm-hmm.
You know about this program, right? With these special
Right.
forms that go into a window.
But how many steps are this? How many times more are we going to see this, Gary?
Oh, that's a good question. This would be the second time, right? Last year, we did 8 customers and 49 inserts. And so far already, I have 12 customers with 74 inserts signed up. The people in Bennington are still willing to do the builds for us. As long as we do the measurements here, the Rotary people do them here for us. The designs go down to Bennington and they put them together. The people are supposed to participate. That's how it works, right? Bring back the units to their own homes and stick them in. I think it's really good for low-income folks to get some support in this regard, and that's what the 1% thing would be for, only those people
Okay.
that need help. How long this would keep going, I would like to see this thing snowball a little bit so that the Energy Committee doesn't even have to hardly do anything about it. It would just be it would just grow on its own. It's not clear how many people are going to need low-income assistance, right? I look at my list of customers and I can't tell how many of them require assistance. However, the way it works in this window dresser program is the measuring committee looks at the home. And the people that have experience with this, you just walk in and you kind of know by the inside of the home if they need help or not. And then they debate what it costs and what they can afford to pay. They're encouraged to pay as much as they can handle. So I suspect that only a portion of the people that are already signed up, maybe none, maybe some. I think that what I did with the 1,700, I know Jessica said, you sure you only need 1,700? And basically I'm looking at what percentage of the people asked for help last year. And I assume the same percentage, roughly speaking, this year. And that's why I get the number I submitted.
Okay. But to complete the project, just in case you do need additional funds, you come back and see us.
I could, but Jessica was hoping I don't have to.
Oh, she'll cut you off at the pass anyway.
I'm trying to do what she tells me, but I believe it'll work for this year. And I can't really answer clearly on like next year and the year after and the year after. But we'll see how popular it is. I mean, you know, one of our customers is two repeat customers already.
Okay.
One of them wrote a nice letter to the Deerfield Valley News saying that she thought the product was very good.
We put inserts downstairs in the clerk's area on the first floor.
In the front office, in the bay windows.
All I'm trying to do is encourage as many as possible.
Yeah.
Okay, that come up. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone have any questions?
So when you say you repeat customers, the inserts on that, they don't last more than one season? Is that?
That's a good question. Basically, a couple of people only purchased like one or two windows because they wanted to test it out.
Okay.
And then they were happy with them, and now they want to fill in the rest of their windows.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing one of our colleagues pointed out once is if a cat decided to crawl up the window, it wouldn't be nice to these products, right? And so the Bennington build, for a pretty moderate fee, can rewrap the units so that they can be repaired if somebody has a problem.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Would someone like to make a motion?
I move to approve the Energy Committee's 1% request for the window dresser program in the amount of $1,700.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion second to approve the Energy Committee's request for the window dresser program in the amount of $1,700. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Scott?
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
The select board to possibly approve the funding request for the East Main Street Sidewalk Project in the amount of $18,000 and approve the project manager contract with Du Bois and King, and Gretchen Haverlock is here to explain.
This is for our
Thank you.
forever project, isn't it? Huh?
The Forever Project, the 8-year project. We're home stretch. Home stretch.
I hope.
So we have two grants through the state of Vermont that are federally funded. And they require that we have a project manager. And so we had a committee that was set up to do At the Ready, and Marshall was actually on that. And we decided that Du Bois and King would be a really good person to do, or company to work with on this project management. You are not allowed to get the funding up front. You just look at their qualifications. And so we went to request a proposal from them, and they came back at 127, sorry, papers.
127,445.
Thank you. And this also includes testing of the concrete. It includes all of the, management of making sure that they're using only materials that are made in the United States. All the requirements through the grant, and then they do all of the approvals and reviews of, the invoices from Waters Excavation, the contractor that's doing the work. So they came in a little bit more than what I had anticipated, and I tried working with them, and they came back. Waters is expecting a 14.5-week construction period. And and Du Bois and King were suggesting a 16 and a half week, and then we wouldn't have to do an amendment if it ran over. We only get billed what we, how long it takes. So there might be money left over in the end.
Excuse me,
So-
might
yeah.
you run out of money as well?
Nope. I'm making it stop.
Thank you.
It will stop. So we will be, so they need to, so we need to approve a little bit more out of the 1%. And this is leaving a little bit more room than the gap by $5,000. And, but any money that is not spent, we would be reverting that back into the 1% local option tax.
So how close are we to putting shovels in the ground?
Very close. Everybody's reserving, well, the project manager right now and Waters Excavation are holding next Wednesday morning for a kickoff meeting. But we can't do that until we have a signed contract with Du Bois and King.
Okay.
So after that, it might be a week or two before shovels in the
All
ground.
right. But you haven't put it out to bid though at this point, or have you?
No, everything's
You have
done.
bids?
Everything's done. So
Okay.
Waters Excavation, I came a few weeks ago, about a month ago. You guys approved that contract. Scott signed it. They're all ready to go. They've already contacted DigSafe. I think DigSafe did the wrong project.
No, dig safe's always been, it's a mandatory step that you have to take.
Yeah.
They're on,
So
they're on the wrong end of the
Their
street.
maps aren't real good, okay?
yeah, so I talked with Nathaniel at Waters today, and he said that he was going to look into it to see what these markings are. And he'll be here on Friday, so to look over the project. And sometimes they don't mark them, but I mean, they obviously marked the wrong area. And we'll have to
They had
have
a surveyor
Dixon.
out here for days. He was out here for like 3 days.
So the surveyor that was out there most recently is for V-Trans for this bridge.
Bridge number 31, we call it.
Yes.
Would have called a lot of things, I think, by the time it's taken down. Okay.
So are there any questions? Charlie, do you have any questions?
Oh,
John.
yeah, I just have a quick
Sure.
question. So the total cost, 783,988, is that what the estimate is? With the water, the VHB and Du Bois?
Yes.
And we had 840, but then we spent 68,850 on what?
Engineering.
Okay.
And
And that was not
easements,
anticipated. Okay.
that had to be done twice because of V-Trans.
All right, that's all I need. Thanks.
Okay. All right, would somebody like to make a motion?
Move to approve the funding request for the East Main Street sidewalk project in the amount of $18,000. And
Second.
approve the project manager contract with Du Bois and King.
All right, we have a second. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the funding request for the East Main sidewalk project in the amount of $18,000 and approve the project manager contract with Du Bois and King. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, opposed? Motion carries. Scott?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Gary.
you.
Under paving, we have Marshall Dix here to walk us through the select board to possibly approve the paving bid from Allstate in the amount of $94.65 per ton. Floor is yours.
Was on. So we can take care of two different things. We're gonna do this first, and then I had a little presentation for you. I can do my presentation, then we can do this.
Your call.
You want to take a vote on the vendor that you're going to hire to do the, well, let's do that first.
First,
I
so,
have to recuse, as I told you earlier.
yep,
All right.
so we had 4, 5,
6?
6. Oh, the 7th one was, just parking lot.
Yeah.
So 6
Yeah,
different people.
They have your the spreadsheet.
Yeah, I don't know. Bids this year, more bids than we've ever had. This one's quite a bit lower than everybody else. So all states, they paid for us for many years, on and off. They usually fight between them and Springfield Paving, who's been doing our paving for the last 10 years roughly, going back and forth between the two. This year, they're really cheaper than the rest of them. Some are very big companies, so they bought their oil last year, so they can hold better prices. Their price is actually better this year than what they bid last year, believe it or not. So I'm recommending Allstate Paving to do our yearly paving. I'd like to go over the roads now, or that's part of my presentation.
All right, all right. So the total on that, then, Marshall, is $335,219.
So our budget for paving is $380,000. So the roads I put out this year, that's what it should come up to, but we'd like to do a little bit extra on Share Hill because of the traffic. But I
Okay.
wanted to make sure that we weren't putting out so much to bid that we couldn't do what we needed to. So I won't be going, we should stay under budget this year easily. So
Next year.
July 1st, so I should I understand, none of this is all for July 1st budget.
It's nice to be optimistic, but yes.
Yes, July 1st. So this summer.
All right. I'll ask the board, anyone have any questions?
So you said Allstate's been doing it for the last how many years?
So Allstate's been bidding, and it's been between either Allstate or Springfield Paving. Their bids, one year, one will be higher than the other, and the next year they swap.
So has Allstate done it before
Yeah,
and no issues?
we've had no issues with them. They're actually the ones that come back. They're the ones that push the oil and stone that we tried on Share Hill, and they're the ones that went good for what went bad. They've done very nice work. They actually probably do some of the nicer paving work. They're a big company, so sometimes depends on how much work they have if they want to be here. This year they have no work in New Hampshire. They're big. They do a lot of paving in New Hampshire. This year they didn't get a bunch of the state contracts, so they're looking for the local work. They already got Whitingham. They're looking for us, and I'm sure they're going to end up with Dover next week when they do theirs.
Okay.
Ready for a motion, sir?
Why don't you make a motion, please?
I make a motion that we approve the Allstate budget of $94.65
A ton.
a ton.
Okay,
Second.
all right, so, motion's been made to approve the paving bid from Allstate in the amount of $94.65 per ton. I'm gonna abstain. All right, Wes? All right,
All those in favor?
Say aye.
Say aye. Aye. That's 4. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
yeah, 4 and 1 abstention.
All right, so if you guys will give me a few minutes to go over, I got some pictures, there's some writing up there, but not a lot. Part of one of the things that the town has done is sent me through a leadership program. And part of the leadership program is I had to do some kind of presentation at the end of the school. It was 8 weeks long, 8 classes long, I shouldn't say weeks. It took 5 months, but it was only one class, whatever. So this presentation is something I worked on during this class, and I wanted to share it with you guys. And with some of the questions people have brought up in the recent years, I wanted to share this. One is our paving plan, which I believe Jessica all gave you a copy. That's about 5 years out. It's not set in stone, but it's what we try to follow when we're paving. As the roads change, as the winters change, sometimes we have to pave roads a little sooner than others. Sometimes they last a lot longer, so we don't have to do them then. We can put other roads in place of them or turn a road from dirt to blacktop. So that list is in front of you. Is it colored, Jess? that you
No,
gave me?
theirs is not, but I can send it in color.
Does it have gray lines then where the yellow ones are? So where the gray lines are, those are roads that are eligible for class 2 state grant. We got one 2 years ago for East Dover Road. When that was paid by the state of Vermont.
So you have Higley Hill and Colebrook Road.
Those are both eligible, and part of Ray Hill, so it depends on which section of Ray Hill we're talking about, is also eligible. State grants usually come on a rough basis of 5 years. We'll get that grant. Otherwise, we apply for them, but there's 95% chance we're not getting it. 5th year, we might not get it. 6th year, we should get it. It's how that works. So that can change what's paved, because all of a sudden, if we get a state grant, we might pave a road a little sooner. So then we can move things around. So that's why some things change too. All right, on to the slideshow. Paving or gravel roads.
Ooh.
The map's too small, you can't see it. Sorry. I can get paper copies if anybody wants it, or I can have it digitally sent to you. Jeff Nugent from Wyndham Regional makes them for me. On this map, they have all the roads that are paved in color and when they were paved. We update this map. We update it in the office every time we pave. Jeff makes me a new one every couple of years because he gets sick of seeing the crayon marks on the wall. So it shows you one color would be for 10 years, and then it goes on every year until the 10th year, they all change the same color of when we did anything to that road as far as paving goes. So some information. Grader, it's about $350,000 now to replace. Can be more, can be less, depending on options, but our grader is $350,000 if we had to replace it now. When we do grant work and we can get reimbursed for the grader, we get somewhere around $164 plus operator salary. We get reimbursed that. So it costs about $400. I'm going to use a round number to grade a mile of a road for just the expense. If we're reimbursing from FEMA, that's what we would get paid to grade a mile of road. That doesn't include any material being put down or nothing. That's just the guy driving the grader and the cost that you would get reimbursed for the wear and tear on the equipment. Our trucks are 300,000 plus. Just give you an idea, those trucks hold 14 yards of material. That costs $450 plus time to truck it and all that. Every time we take a load of material out of the garage and put it on a road, you're looking at $550 for a round number. Just so people think that when they just call us up and say, my road needs gravel, every time that truck goes out, it's costing taxpayers $550. To add an inch of gravel on a mile of road, you're looking around $13,500, and that's, again, not counting the time to grade it out or anything like that. They say there's a lot of research done that every year you lose about an inch of gravel on a dirt road due to dust, rain, snow, everything. Gravel wears out, believe it or not, it's a wearable item. So, and that brings up dust. Oh, look at that. I didn't even remember that slide was there. Calcium chloride, 1 mile of road to put chloride on a road that we get frequent calls. And I got a little dust on my road. Takes supposed to be about 31.50 gallons. It's $1. This says $1.09. It went up to $1.20 this year a gallon. So back when I did this slide, it's $3,500 a mile of road to put the proper amount of chloride on. And if you do the whole town, you're looking at $14,000 to do it once.
How many times do you have to do it?
Well, fortunately, we don't do every road in town, but some roads get it more often than others. Some will get it 4 or 5 times a year. Depends on how dry the summer is too. That plays a big factor. When you have a summer with rain all summer, ain't such a big problem. When you have a summer like last year after June, when the rain stopped and it never rained again, would get quite a few calls. I did find a new product that's quite a bit cheaper. It seems to work for dust. It doesn't work for road stabilization. It's something they put on dirt racetracks. A 5-gallon pail of it, which will do our tank 5 times. It takes a gallon for 1,000 gallons of water. Our tank's 1,000 gallons. It's only $200, so we can put that out. It makes the water stay around for a while, so we can put some of that on when it comes to the busier times around the lakes, around the holidays. We can just go put some of that on. Makes most people happy, but I can't please everyone. I try, but I can't.
So how do you decide which roads are getting sprayed for the dirt?
For spray for the dust,
Yeah.
traffic is a big issue. So Lake Raponda, Castle Hill, Fairview Ave, there are a lot of high-speed traffic. That's what determines it. If the road is packed real hard and turns solid, we don't have to. Gravel, the kind of gravel we use plays a big part in it, and how much traffic and how fast traffic's going.
So when you're saying you're losing gravel on the roads, I know people live on Lake Rapon, and they swear to me that road is a half a foot higher than it was years ago.
And I'm not gonna.
It's now more.
I won't disagree, because there was a few long time, way before I was in any part of this business, the town raised the whole road. It hasn't raised in the last many years. What some people, and don't take this wrong way, is a lot of these people that are complaining haven't done nothing to their driveway, and their driveway is disappearing too. But I won't deny that the road has been raised in places. When we have been doing the reclamation and rebuilding the road, and some areas where there's a big difference, we've lowered the road. And then you take the other people that are raising their driveways after we lower the road to match their driveways, they raise their driveway up, and now they've got a big bump up into their driveway, and we have to make sure we don't rip their brand new blacktop up that they put right out in the road. But gravel does disappear, and people don't put gravel back in their driveway. I'm not blaming it at all, but there's a house out there that the driveway's been blacktopped for many, many years, and it's the same height as it has. They haven't blacktopped it, and we haven't changed the dirt, and it still matches just fine.
How often, Marshall, how often do you use the chloride?
Depends on the weather. It's all about weather and funding. I won't say that doesn't play a part of it, but right now we're not putting obviously any chloride out. There's still water in the road. Not all the frost is completely out yet, so there's no need to put chloride on the road. We do put chloride on the road. Whenever you add any amount of gravel, you need to put chloride in it to make it bind together and become hard. Otherwise, it always stays loose. And some gravel binds better than others. Does that answer your question a little bit?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yes, James.
Gene Milenick, Diane Milenick, we live on Fairview Avenue. I have a lot of.
Gene, could you come up and use the mic?
Jim, you have to use the mic.
Use the mic so everyone can hear you. Thank you.
We live on Fairview Avenue right at the gate, and I talked to Marshall a week ago, and he enlightened me in a lot of ways, and I have a town study for what the traffic is on Fairview Avenue. I'm sure all you have it as well, but I have to get it here, I'm sorry. Here's a study he gave me. We're going to talk about the volume of traffic. Daily average is 316 cars per day. Weekday average 265. Weekend average, 445 vehicles a day. Marshall, he's done the best job he possibly can. But where we live, I'm sure he can vouch for it, we have a Sumner Lane that comes down through. So even now, if you took a ride down that road, every large vehicle, Suburban, Nido, has to turn up that. Now you're talking a 90-degree turn. Mr. Marshall can grade that this week. 2 weeks later, your potholes. The other thing is we live there, Diane and I, and now the gate is open 24 hours around the clock. They don't shut it anymore. So we have traffic anywhere from 4 o'clock in the morning to 10:30 at night. Yes, that's what we have. These potholes there, bang, bang, bang. The traffic shows that this road should be paved. I think Marshall would agree. You can disagree if he wishes. This road was on schedule to be paved in 2018.
28.
Or 2028. Unfortunately, I don't know what the problem is. It's off the schedule of it. It's not in the schedule to be paved at all. I don't understand why, but I'm telling you, Fairview Avenue is a tough place to live. And I would like to see it graded. I'd like to see it paved sooner than 2028. I think we cannot open our windows at times due to dust. Yes, he comes down and Marshall will tell you, depends on the summer. I don't know, I don't have the right figures, how many times, but it's not pleasant. And I can't understand why we can't get this road paved quicker. I just don't understand. I wish there was an answer. I see roads paved in town, okay? I'm sure there's variations, but I'll give you one example. Adams Road was paved. We have this kind of traffic and we can't get the road paved. Why? I don't understand it. It's not for me. I'm talking as taxpayers. Our money is going down the drain. If you pave it, it will reduce the cost and we'll go forward. And I'd like to see it paved. And I'd like to see a firm date when it's going to be paved. And it's not a pleasant place to live. And I'm enough man to sit here and say, I'm sorry, Mr. Tucker. Our conversation was heated. And the next issue that I want to talk about, okay, is we have maybe this is not the time to talk, you can tell me yes or no. On our area, and it's been a long time going on down there, we have a disgruntled neighbor. And I'll tell you what, after the meeting, I would like to talk to, it's not to be in public, but we live in hell on that road. And we have a dog issue down there. There's a two issue down there, okay? It's not only a dog, it's the individual that's living across the street. And I think Tom has been involved in a long time. It's been many years. We had a light issue, and I could bring it in and show you. We could spend hours on this. We're not going to do it. But I'm going to tell you what, we had a light issue. It took 4 years to solve that problem from the first time that we filed a complaint. Okay, I have it in writing. I'll give it to you. You can look through it, but things got to get better. And I'll tell you right now, it's getting dangerous there. And that's not to be talked in public. But after the meeting, I'd like to take 5 or 10 minutes and talk to the selectmen. Because I'll tell you, it's not good. Okay? When I have to live in my house, okay, armed, we got a problem. It's in writing, we'll talk about it, and Diane and I can't take much more of it. The police were at this place yesterday, I believe, and this man came out and gave us the finger. We rode down here today, he rides by, he gives us a finger. Something's gotta be done. Something's gotta be done. And it's been going on for 7 years. And like I said, I'm sorry, but I think everyone has to understand what we go through down there. I did my lawn, it's 35 degrees, and this neighbor's got his window open. That's all I'm gonna say. The rest is, I'm gonna say after me. But I'm telling you, it's not good.
Gene, let's talk about it afterwards. I
We
really
will.
want to stick with the paving, okay?
But
Let's stick with the
let's
paving.
stick with the road. When can we get it paid? I mean, I don't think we have to live with noise. Marshall came last year. This is what he did. He came down. He brought gravel. He brought a grader. He brought a roller that compacted. He did all he possibly could. And I'll tell you what, he went beyond that. Okay, he didn't have to do it. He came down. The road was so bad at the gate, tires were even hot. The pillow for the gate, the gravel had worn down so far. Cars were coming through and bang. 400 and some cars on a weekend. I had one youngster. He didn't know how to change his tire. I changed his tire for him. So I think money, there's money in the budget. We're talking 0.6 of a mile, and we're talking $100,000, right? That's their superintendent. He knows about the road better than probably anyone in this room. It's not a good road.
When did the power company start leaving the gate open this early? I didn't think it was until Memorial Day.
It's been open for 2 years, 24 hours,
Really?
1 o'clock. Yes, sir. In fact, I'm gonna talk to the power company on the 30th, not about the gate. We had some issues with trees up against that. This gate has been open. And you know what? We have bass fishermen come at 4 o'clock in the morning. And in front of our house, the gravel road, it's almost impossible to stop the potholes. It's terrible right now, but I'm not gonna complain. It's the end of the year. We had mud, Marshall was right out there, straightforward with me. We agree on it. We didn't argue. He was honest about it. I think it's time we do something about the road. To be honest with you, I think some of the money should be diverted this year and pave that road. That's what I think. Enough is enough. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll give you these copies after. Thank you for your
Thanks,
time.
Jim.
So, Marshall, just a question. So, and along with this too. So a couple of these on your list say new. So these are dirt roads that are gonna be newly paved?
They're dirt roads and they're gonna be blocked up when they're done.
Okay. So my question is, and I guess the same question with Fairview, how is that decided?
Troubles on the road, things that we deal with on the road, how frequently we have to go do. Some depends on a lot of traffic, some depends on not much traffic. So you're looking at next year's probably, I'm assuming, or this year's.
It says summer of day 26.
So that's
I'm
the summer.
sorry,
Yep,
27. Yeah.
that's next year.
Right.
So summer 27 is next year.
Right.
So,
So you're the one who makes the decision whether we should pave it or not?
yep. with the talk of not just me. So 2027, I believe, and without having it right in front
You
of me,
have
is Aldridge
Aldrich and
Road.
Wilmington Heights.
Yeah, so Aldridge Road is up there.
Yeah.
So I have all the paperwork from every landowner except one. I'm not, and the landowner they've all signed a petition. They would like their road paved.
Okay, and I guess that was really my question.
Yes,
You do
so,
involve the other.
Another, so that was one thing, and I mentioned that to Jeannie too, that there is people that don't like pavement, and you live next to one section that is 100% against it, even though they have a high traffic count too.
Okay.
So we have to take that in consideration, because they're paying property tax there too. If the whole road doesn't want pavement, then I ain't gonna push for the pavement.
That's good.
There isn't more to it than just making a decision.
Right.
This year, the road that's gonna be finished blacktop, we blacktopped it 2 years ago. The first half of it is Gallup Pitch.
Mhm.
It's a very steep hill off of Route 100. If you're not aware where it is, we paved it. That's actually 3 years. It's been blacktopped for 2 winters now. We've had no issues with the plow trucks anymore going up the hill. They go up the steeper part of the hill. The gravel's not running down into Route 100. The ditches aren't filling up. And one of the owners was skeptical about it. And now he has said, now that it's blacktop, it's the best thing we've ever done. The only thing he would wish is there's a yellow line on the road because you can't see at nighttime. I don't know if a dirt road makes any much difference. To me, the black and gray are the same color, but we're gonna finish that little bit of a road because the next place we have the corner on Gallup Pitch is when you go around the corner, you go up another steep little hill and it flattens out. That's the end of the town road. If the whole road is blacktop, we only send one truck there to maintain it for the winter. When partial of the roads are dirt and blacktop, there's usually 2 trucks because we only salt with the little trucks. We don't usually salt with the big trucks. So a little truck has to go do the blacktop and the big truck does the dirt. So on this slide here, it's just showing a muddy road. That is actually Lake Raponda. That section of the road is rebuilt. For you that know the road, it's in front of Wayne's house. If you know where that is, the fire hydrant, dry hydrant, that's in front of his house 3 years ago. Some of the good things about a dirt road is we can dig a culvert up, we can replace a culvert, and with the grader, we can make it smooth again. After mud season, we can make it smooth again. But potholes and dirt and mud still come back. Some of the problems with a dirt road is that's what you have, mud, potholes. You lose the gravel in the ditches. That's another thing. Dirt roads versus blacktop. We don't have to do nowhere near as much ditching on a blacktop road because it don't fill the ditches up as much because you're not plowing it off in the winter. So there's pros and cons to everything. The other thing that makes a decision on what you're asking is we do not want a blacktop road that is what I'll call not blacktop ready. So one thing that drove me nuts is, I don't know how many years ago, the state paved this Route 100 north towards the bowling alley or by the bowling alley. And I swear to God, it was less than 2 weeks they were done. They dug the road up to change the culvert underneath it. That drove me nuts. So before we will pave a road, we change all the culverts if they need to be changed or check the culverts that cross the road. So hopefully for 10 to 20 years, we don't have to dig under the road. That's the goal. One of the other things that we did last year is another way to make sure the road is acceptable to the blacktop is you only put the first layer down because blacktop's done in more than one layer. So there's a base layer and then a top. We put the base layer down the first year. One, you can get a little more because you can do a little more, and then you put the top on the next year. So then if you did miss something, miss the spring in the road that you hasn't there, if they show before the road's topped, you can fix this problem. So that way the blacktop will last long. So pavement, smoother ride, usually less summer maintenance, no mud, no dust.
Frost heaves.
You do get frost heaves still on a blacktop road, but most of the time
not as much dust.
Huh?
Not as much dust. We get a lot of dust on this building.
Yeah, yeah, you do, you get dust, but you put a dirt road out here, and then we'll talk about dust.
I know, I live on it.
Yeah, some of the bad parts about pavement is if you do have to dig up the road, it costs a little bit more money. We just dug up Ray Hill, I'm sure you see when you come down here. So that cost about $4,200 to the water department to dig up that and then put blacktop back. And then I don't care how good you are at doing a patch, it's never the same as when it's all done at once. Luckily, that is on the paving and within the next couple of years, so that will be taken care of. But hopefully we don't have to keep doing that too much, but we had to do it at Castle Hill and there. And that's another thing you look at. People say, why don't you pave Chimney Hill more? For you that don't know, Chimney Hill has a lot of infrastructure in the road. All their water and stuff is in the middle of the road. So we have to watch what we pave if we want to add pavement in Chimney Hill, because their water lines, when they put them in the ground, they blasted the ledge out, put the water line and threw the ledge right back on top. So their water lines blow all the time. They're digging up the road nonstop to fix water lines. So that is one thing Chimney Hill's been working on their recent years, is they're putting new water lines in, and then anywhere it's crossing the town road or anything, they put a pipe in the road. So if something happens, they can put another pipe inside the pipe.
Sleeve.
Yes, they're sleeving everything in the road anywhere, because they would like to see more blacktop. But until they get some infrastructure that they're not digging up at least once a year, it ain't happening. And blacktop usually brings more speed. On average, it does bring more speed. I'm not going to deny that. Just want to put that out there. But it's because they can drive faster, because it's a nicer ride. So back when I did this presentation, the blacktop was $94 a ton. Takes roughly 660 tons per inch. Blacktop road has to have any stability to it, should be a total of 4 inches thick. So to do a mile of road, it's $248,000, give or take some money, to do a mile of road that was dirt. That's it. I tried to make it short for you guys. I wasn't trying to bore you, but I was trying to give you a little information. If you have more questions, I'll be more than glad to answer them, and best I can. If I don't have the answer, I'll get it for you guys.
Anyone have any other questions? Yes. You have to come up front. Yeah.
David Richmond, I live on Castle Hill Road. One of the things when Gene was making his presentation about Fairview is you could forget that half of those vehicles are pulling trailers. So you also have the trailer wheels with the heavy boats and things of that nature. And also about the gate being open. I mean, I live right up here. There's people coming out of that lake at all hours of the night. They may not be on the lake, but they're in the picnic area or they're just hanging out. So I'm not sure what the town's role is with the gate, if you have any powers.
So they hire sheriff's department, and there's deputies, to my knowledge, are the ones that are supposed to be opening and closing the gates.
We have nothing to do. It's private property.
But it's open.
That's why I asked about the gate being open. They used to not open the gate.
As a courtesy, the police department sometimes
It used to be
is able to do
closed
that.
4 years ago. I think it's only been in the last few years.
And we had a problem at Gene's house with cars congregating there, waiting for the gate to open. So it's 6 of one, half dozen the other. Yeah. The question is what will work.
One other thing is when they did the pavement on Castle Hill, there's about an 8-inch span, maybe 10 inches from where my lawn used to hit the old pavement. With the new pavement, there was about a 10-inch span, and they put down dirt with gravel. So every winter, at like this time of year, half that gravel and dirt end up in our yard. So I'm not sure why they didn't go right to the lawn. And you can drive up, you can see it. It's on all the yards. And I guess that's just the way they did it, but why didn't they at least do it the way it was before we now have to deal with all that dirt and gravel every spring. Comes right off of what they put down. So now we're having to redo it, obviously. So that's.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I have a question for Marshall on like Aldrich Road, Marshall. So you said essentially 900 feet. So from the base of it, how far is that up Aldrich?
Aldrich Road.
Aldrich Road, how far is it? I don't have that paper with me.
I guess my
48.
question is like that road, is it worth the $47,000 to pave the whole thing, or is it the first, 100 feet when it's the worst condition that you can just do the apron essentially and paving?
The people want the whole road done, and that's what's signing the whole petition.
Says the estimate in tons is 450.
Oh.
2027.
Right, so you're saying you want just, the apron already goes up the road, probably 20 feet. There's already a blacktop apron.
Yeah, I guess that's fine. When I'm back in town, I'll drive it. I guess I understand the residents, right now you're saying like 90% of the residents want it paved. I just didn't know if it's, when we're looking at our budget, that's 45,000 for 450 tons to pave a relatively flat road.
It is relatively flat, yep. That's something we can talk about. It cuts down on the maintenance. It cuts down on the maintenance on the winter, cuts down on the grading in the summer. Makes it for a small truck is a lot easier to do because it's not a big road. But again, if we have rejections to it, or we can talk about it.
Okay. Scott, let's get into Act 181, if we could.
Okay,
See,
so
Emily is with us.
Emily is with us, and that we thank her very much. Let me just give you a little bit of information, and of course, Tony and others might want to chime in. So recent changes under Vermont Act 181 could expand when Act 250 applies, particularly through the Habitat Tier 3 rule and what's called the road rule. In simple terms, the Habitat rule applies to mapped wildlife areas, often extending about 2,000 feet from roads and into forested lands, where development may trigger Act 250 review based on location, not just project size. So the road rule is a related trigger that can require review if a project is more than 800 feet from an existing road, or if it involves creating 2,000 feet or more of new road or driveway. In practical terms, this means projects on farmland, such as building a barn, adding worker housing, or creating a family house lot, could require a more complex state permit, depending on where the land is located. Many farmers and rural landowners are concerned this could add cost, delay, and uncertainty to normal operations, especially for properties along public roads. The legislature recently chose to pause rather than fully repeal these provisions through Vermont Senate Bill S 325, giving towns and stakeholders time to work through concerns. However, recent discussions at the State House, including conversations with the Vermont League of Cities and Towns advocacy staff, suggest there may be emerging agreement among legislative leadership to pursue a repeal of Tier 3 and the road rule, although no draft language has been released to date. This potential direction aligns with the position of Phil Scott, who has called for full repeal, but it should be viewed cautiously until formal language is introduced and acted upon. For now, the pause provides important breathing room, but what is decided next will determine how these rules ultimately affect farming, land use, and rural communities going forward. Now, I just got a message from our advocacy at Vermont League of Cities and Towns. Although he is away, he said the last he checked, the House Environment Committee was crafting language to repeal the road rule and Tier 3 in S 325, and he fully expects the language to be included and passed by the committee and the full House, and the Senate has already stated that they will support it as well. And he didn't see any problem with me sharing that with you tonight. And before other people speak, maybe Emily has an update or anything she would like to share first.
Hi, thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. I was actually gonna just share that same thing. That's exactly what I have heard is that the committee is drafting language currently to repeal the road rule and Tier 3. And they're also looking at making the community involvement more explicit. I think in the original bill, the intention was to have that happen, but it hasn't happened. And that is definitely alarming to the committee. So they're trying to find ways to make this a much more community-driven process, as I understand it. They should have language out by Friday, so far as I understand, and we could probably be voting on it early next week.
Is there going to be any chance at all that they just repeal the entire law? I mean, I have never seen a law being passed. It was obviously vetoed by the governor. You folks overrode it. And now you're taking bits and pieces out of that law and you're going to modify them. Why not just get rid of the whole law and start over again?
That is something that I'm not sure is on the table as far as I understand it. I don't know what kind of amendments might be brought to the floor about it. I think so. My understanding, I know it's a really big bill, but it did make a ton of technical corrections and it made it easier to build housing in areas where there's already wastewater and water management. So given the state's housing pressure, that feels like it's really important, but I'm definitely open and would love to hear what the community thinks and what the best way is to move forward.
Anyone? Janet?
Thank you, Emily. Thank you guys for putting this on the agenda. I have to say, I've tried to read whatever I could that came down the pike. I'm sure not all of it was factual or accurate, but therein lies the problem. The public has had, I've seen no meetings for us advertised. I've tried to look at the maps. It's impossible. I don't even know what Tier 2 represents, but I think there's some damage to local landowners in that too. We're fighting about local housing. I understand that the village Tier 1 might work in our favor, but again, I know nothing, and I have still seen no maps. I haven't seen anything from any of our other local committees that said they had weighed in on it one way or the other. I've been encouraged with towns that have gone forward and said, let's repeal the whole act and start fresh. I mean, I don't want to waste anybody's time, but I really feel like we were bamboozled with this.
I agree.
We're fighting.
And by the way, tier 2 is no better.
Well, that's what
Okay.
I have heard, but again, I'm open to the fact that I don't know all the facts. I mean, we've deliberately purchased land and kept land out of current use so that my kids who work on the farm, my grandchildren might have a prayer. And all of a sudden you get hit with, oh, by the way, you might have to go through Act 250. That was not our intent. I hope you guys will give some thought to just putting a letter out there saying, whoa, we're in favor of backing this back off. Let's look at all the tiers. Let's have some public meetings. I'd like to hear what Wyndham Regional has to say. I don't know. Emily, thank you for showing up and giving us a little bit of insight from up north.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how many towns, 12, 14, have sent letters up. It's probably a drop in the bucket, but
they have had the legislature has had a lot of people reaching out to them individually from towns and individuals.
well, individually, yes, but I would love to see our select board say.
Well, I sent one up. I sent one up a couple of weeks ago.
Thank you.
But I want repeal. I don't want to modify.
The Farm Bureau has been a big part
Right.
of the conversation as
Right.
well, the legislature, to my understanding.
They said it's the largest grassroots effort they've seen
Yes.
ever,
Yes.
which I think leads, we, God knows we're losing farms. And you have to get incredibly creative to make a living on a farm. And you need to be able to provide for your families that have worked the farm. But I feel like they're taking that all away. And I love the comment that they wanted Vermont to be all conservation land
50%, I think.
by 2030. I'm thinking, so does that mean all the rest of the taxes fall on us? I just think farmers were the first conservationists, so now let's take their rights away too. Oh, it's hard. And we have a lot of people who have family land, maybe not actively farming every season, but people who still sugar as a family, still maybe log a little as a family, maybe cut hay. And I think they're in the same boat. But I do feel I would like to see some more before this is really passed.
Okay. Thank you.
If I can just chime in really quick, and thank you so much, Janet. I really appreciate you and your perspective. And this is also I just want to say this as a caveat, devil's in the details always, but there is a appetite to ensure that agricultural lands and our working lands stay working lands. The point about this being the biggest grassroots movement in Vermont, and certainly it is, means that there are a lot of voices at the table and that rural Vermont is getting their voices heard. So I really do encourage, please write me, please feel free to reach out and I'm happy to talk on the phone too. I would love to understand more about the nuances of this so that we make sure whatever gets put out has, really good teeth and actually helps Vermont and helps, all of our longstanding multi-generational families that have been stewarding the land, affords them a future for sure.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
I know our planning commission has been working on this. They had a presentation, I think the last week, or their last meeting, I'm just going to say. And I know that Wyndham Regional Commission did that presentation, and they are talking to them about doing a community presentation at some point along the line.
They were invited in May. They're coming in May, the first meeting of the month to the select board meeting.
Great. My other comment is, and I think, Emily, you've heard this from me before. I'm really concerned about the river corridor mapping that was done by computer and potentially AI. And so my understanding is that if you feel that the mapping is inaccurate on your property, you are actually responsible for hiring an engineer to actually prove the map wrong. And that would be the tune of probably up to $50,000 too, depending on how big that project is. So I just want people to know that I feel is a problem, that it's going to be an onus on the property owners.
I know Wyndham Regional made a presentation up in Jamaica here a couple of weeks ago, maybe last week. Did you hear anything about that? What's their stance? I mean, are they looking for a repeal or some change? What are they recommending?
I'm not going to speak for them.
Okay,
But,
all right.
yeah, I mean, I think that they are trying to get the information out to people, for people to make, decisions and, towns to make decisions. So, because the tier 1, I think it is, would be that, and here's the other interesting piece is that if your town can take on the responsibility of managing Act 250 applications, then it would be done within the town.
Tier 1 focuses on downtowns. And
Right. I mean, the Wyndham Regional did that presentation up at OSEC, 2 years ago? Same thing, about the density, obviously, of our housing. And there were some areas that they had picked out and basically identified as places that could be used.
And tier 2 is supposedly less onerous for housing, but it has to be within a certain area. I mean, a certain proximity to the downtown or village designated downtown area, I think.
Tier 2 is just talking about just outside of the tier 1.
Right.
And, and that still isn't clear at all. Right. So and of course, then 3 is just completely objectionable. That's why I would rather see the entire thing repealed.
I mean, the bill
doesn't make any sense.
177. The bill is 177 pages. Is that correct, Emily?
Yeah.
Well, that's why they get paid the big bucks.
Right, but Emily, just correct me if I'm wrong. I think on the tier 1, the tier 1A is going to fully exempt that development from an Act 250 repeal. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
Right. So that's a benefit
for the downtown.
And a tier 1B for less than a 50-unit development is also exempt from a 250 review.
That's correct.
Yeah, which is just that straight. There's no ambiguity with that whatsoever. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So to repeal the whole thing is throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Throw it out. Anyway. You'll hear more from us, Emily, on this. That's a guarantee.
Okay, I look forward to it. Thank you, Tom.
Anyone else?
Daniel Boyd, just wanted to kind of echo some of the stuff on the farm. Multi-generational families that own big tracts of land are definitely going to be affected by this. I think, 20 years ago, trying to buy just a few acres of land, anything that we could afford, it was $100,000 driveway just to get into it. And sometimes it was further back, it's hard to get into it. So for a young family, it's almost impossible anyway to build. And then putting just further, engineering, more hoops to jump through is just going to deter young families from even trying. That's all I really got to add, but I think the rest of it was pretty well covered. But I agree. I think definitely worth a review and possibly just a straight up repeal.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? All right. Emily, you will be hearing from us. You know that, okay?
Absolutely. My door's always open.
When are you looking to adjourn this year?
Oh.
Too early to
sorry.
we're getting very close to May here.
Let me get my political. I am hoping as close to May as possible. I think we all are eyeing early May, but
I miss her.
Fingers crossed.
Okay. All right. All right. Just had to ask. All right. All right, Scott, other business.
Would you like to create a summer schedule for June, July, and August and go to your second meeting of the month? That will avoid holiday time and things of that nature.
Yep. Really? We all on board with that?
Make a motion, we approve it.
Yeah, no, we don't have to make a motion.
What is the summer schedule before we
need a consensus, that's all.
Second meeting, third Tuesday of the month, right?
Okay, so we're scrapping the first meeting.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Starting in June, July, and August. Last year we extended into September, but that was only because Labor Day was around the same time as your first meeting. So
And we did get together in case of something critical
Yes.
that came up.
Well, I do believe the first year we probably met 8 times. I
Yeah.
think.
You still are subject to call in.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
please.
right.
Might still get together more than regular.
Okay, that sounds like a done deal.
Yeah. Sounds like general consent.
Yep.
General
Yeah.
consent.
Works for me.
You're
All
up.
right. Select board members' comments. John, you want to start it?
I have none at this time.
Okay, Tony,
I'm good. Thank you.
Vince,
Nothing at this time.
Charlie?
Nothing this time.
We've got nothing. Got plenty of nothing. Town manager report.
So Green Mountain Power, the underground construction will start the week of April the 27th on Boyd Hill Road. Their plan is to start the underground work season next week. They will start to furnish a 2-week look-ahead schedule. Typically, it'll go to Jessica, and she'll get it out on the web and to the select board in case you have questions. It's also an opportunity for GMP to collectively look at what activities are happening and identify any conflicts that may arise throughout the construction period. Don is their guy. Don Mills and Marshall have been collaborating on getting GMP going, and Saladino is ready to go in support of the civil work. We will be able to communicate with them on anything that we hear. They'll be deploying some electronic signage and contacting our customers along these project routes. They appreciate the town's partnership on these projects, and it's a big boost to get their work, to get into their work now that the conditions will allow it. Police department will be hiring 1 patrol officer to begin work on April the 27th. Since I don't have a signed agreement, I'm not going to say who he is, but the chief will do introductions with his new folks soon.
Yes.
This person is headed to part-time academy on the June the 8th to June the 26th, followed by field training and additional training courses. And then this person will be going to the full-time basic training at the Vermont Police Academy in August 3rd, and that'll run to till Thanksgiving primarily. Green Up Day is May the 2nd, the first Saturday in May. And remember, it's being led by Anthony Martino, and I believe it's his wife, Bonnie Bohan. LHMP, you might have forgotten, Local Hazard Mitigation Plan that we had submitted a while ago, last year. It will eventually come to the select board for approval for the certificate of adoption. And we should see that, I'm told we should see the plan soon. I have no definition of what soon is. Talking about the dam at Lake Raponda. I reached out to Ben Green. He's the DEC dam safety engineer. And basically I'm asking him if there are any funds available. So he says at this time, there are unfortunately few, if any, funding opportunities for dam rehabilitation. FEMA, as you know, has a program for high hazard potential dams that is currently closed. And Lake Raponda would not qualify as it's a lower classification. And then he talked about another watershed grant, but he did not seem to be a good fit for recreational dams in Vermont. And he's not familiar with any dam owner in the state successfully getting funding. As you know, you can find money to tear down a dam, but to rehabilitate one, there isn't any. So the state, he says the state is in the process of setting up a revolving loan fund for dams, which should be in place hopefully in 2027. It will be priority and risk-based loans and limited dollars available, but it will hopefully help. So at some point this summer, I hope to get an RFP out for a final design so that we might be ready to go if we can access some of that grant money. It might help. In terms of Memorial Hall, the floodproofing project, GPI out of Brattleboro, their work is completed. They completed around April the 20th. The deck platform is completed, and that was completed by Jocelyn out of Bennington. Monument Electric and GMP still need to finish their work so we get everything completed. CB's Painting began their work this week for the trim on Memorial Hall. I'm just going to mention this so that you have it in the back of your head. I don't know what we're going to do at this point. There appears to be a continued interest by the Trail Committee on what is called Town Highway number 59, and it's up near the mover. It's an area that has been maintained or mowed by the mover, and it's not a road that we've used, but evidently when the plywood factory was there, it was probably the road that led down to the factory. And so there's been some conversation by the Trail Committee whether or not we should turn it into a trail. And at this point, it's one of the alternate routes that is available to the state with regard to bridge number 31. I think they've ruled it out, but I don't have anything official. Now, if the town wanted to reclassify or initiate the process, it's an entire legal process that would take some time. It's not something that's going to be done immediate if that is the direction that the select board would like to take. There's some question on whether or not the plan would actually require improving that road, because I think it's a relatively smooth grass area. And when the mover maintains it, which I learned from Randy, I think it was last year when I asked him, I don't know what we gain is, of course, to improve that area would require a certain amount of development. And I'm not sure, I don't believe there's a survey of that road right now in terms of determining exactly where it is. We can say where it's maintained, we could say where we think it is, but it probably, before you went and tried to redevelop that area, I think you would want to have a survey to be sure that we're developing something that belongs to us, and that means the abutting landowners should have some say in that. So the legal process to redesignate a town highway as a trail requires action by the select board. Process generally includes notice to abutting landowners and interested parties, posting in public places and publication in a newspaper, a site visit by the select board, and a warned public hearing, among other procedural requirements. This multi-step process requires coordination and time to complete. Following the hearing, the select board would deliberate and issue a formal decision with any approved change recorded in land records and reflected in the town's highway map. The select board may also determine that additional documentation, such as confirmation of the existing highway layout and legal review, are necessary. While I, as town manager, appreciate the Trail Committee's pursuit of a grant opportunities to support improvements if this section were reclassified, and it could present a valuable opportunity to enhance accessibility, which is what they're looking at. And I'm not exactly sure what that all would entail, but it certainly would be improved from the grass area. I think there's some question on whether or not somebody in a wheelchair could access it now with the right kind of wheelchair. So Marshall has visited the site. I haven't seen it lately. And I think Gretchen has been up there, and it's not all that bad, I don't think, what's up there now. So it requires, I think, a more a better understanding of what of what the trail committee really is trying to accomplish and what the amount of money that it would be in terms of changing it and an upkeep and that sort of thing. There may be additional coordination depending on what the grant is and how the funding, what funding would be available. So anyhow, there's a lot of considerations if this were brought forward. I'm just letting you have a little bit of information so you at least think about it. In terms of legal, we are 211 East Main Street. That's the Chilangara situation up there. A DRB hearing was scheduled for April the 6th, but the hearing was postponed since information from V-Trans and state permitting is still pending. They did hold a hearing on 4/20 for the 220 Lake Raponda, the Oldfield property there, and that was held on the 20th. I'm sorry, Monday, yesterday. Zastowski case, we're waiting a court decision on that. And the next case that is coming up is Zaringer, George Zaringer III, and we're headed to trial on April the 28th in Newfane. And so Ed Adrian, our attorney, our town attorney, and Russ, our assessor, are working on that case. In terms of the Wilson case, remember that one was filed. They filed for an appeal with the Supreme Court, and our town attorney recently received a new Vermont Supreme Court order last Friday, April 10th. That was the date that the Wilsons' brief was due, and they did not file. So their new date given by the court for the brief is May the 18th. Okay, I think I ended up with this. So the last item is that they tried to serve Therese with a lawsuit, and she rightly sent it back to sent it to the town attorney. So this is a Donald and Savannah Jabro by and through their attorneys, Costello, Valenti, and Gentry. They complain of defendants, you've heard this name before, Hermitage Inn Real Estate Holding Company, LLC, and James R. Barnes et al., which means a whole host of people. This is related to foreclosure by judicial sale mortgage and a promissory note of about $450,000 with interest to about $714,000 due and payable. For some reason, the town was listed in this particular lawsuit, and Ed has already talked to their attorney, and it should be an error, and he's following up, but people evidently are going on vacation. So
who's the plaintiff on this?
Jabro is the name.
Right. Jim Barnes just keeps on giving.
Donald and Savannah Jabro, Jabro. So just gee whiz, that should fall away. We should not have been named in that.
Okay. All right. So that seems to be the end of the line here, folks. Anybody have anything for the good of Wilmington tonight? If not, I'll entertain motions to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. A motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion to adjourn with a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. You all for coming.
Emily, thank you.